I suppose my own thought is, you know, it's just amazing as teachers, and as teachers in third level and teachers at every level, you know, it's so easy to teach the people that find it easy to learn. Our real challenge is when there are people who have difficulties. And really, you know, we shouldn't be clapping ourselves in the back until such time as we make a difference, like obviously that program did. I'm dying to read the details of it. Fantastic. I think it's more, we should all spend more time thinking about that, really. And Mary, you wanted to ask something or make a comment.
Yes, apologies, my video isn't available. I am very struck by two things. First of all, the link with, you know, the sustainability. Why didn't it stick? And it's back to what Stephen Kemmis was talking about, you know, the need for changing architectures. And when Richard went to that last slide about assessment and the fear of the exam, then we need to look at, you know, this whole focus on the measurement of learning. I suppose we're going through it here because of the pandemic in relation to the Leaving Cert being changed and within the junior cycle with the CBAs and the new approaches to assessment and formative assessment. But there is still this dependence on standardization and measurement, and I suppose what's valued is what gets measured. Okay, that's me over and out.
Great, Mary, thank you.
Mary.
Richard, do you want to say something there?
Well, just to say that exams, in my opinion, are generally speaking, you know, instruments of cruelty, it's not just cruelty to the students; it's cruelty to the markers and the teachers, to be working within such a narrow frame of expression and genre, and time and place, and all the things that Stephen talked about in terms of practice, to think about the feelings and so on. So, you know, everybody loses with exams, in my opinion. They are an instrument of coercion almost in society in order to us to choose the people that we want to be in the civil service, or to choose the people we want to take for this job or that job. They're not there to affirm life or to make things better, and they're not even very accurate. And I think you know, Richard Winter's patchwork text I found so inspirational. It took me into a different world of celebrating work, of taking it to the workplace and sharing it with work colleagues, not just you know, seeing it as a private matter to be done in a locked room. So not locked room, but you know what I mean, a room where you couldn't leave until the 3 hours was up.
It's so innovative, it really is, and so worthwhile. Siobhan, did you want to make a comment there?
I did. My heart is racing listening to Richard, because I feel he's just, yeah, speaking to my soul. I work with special needs people, which aren't really special needs, but anyway, we won't go into that. It just struck me what you said about practice curriculum rather than content curriculum. I think in primary education in Ireland, we're completely lost in trying to deliver content and absolutely missing the point of the practical, of the children's actual development and learning, rather than hammering in, you need to be at this stage in English or maths by the time you move to your next class. I love the idea of assessment for learning through a mixed method, and I've written to our Minister for Education, Norma Foley, in relation to the hybrid Leaving Cert. I am a product of the Leaving Cert system myself. I did it twice because I missed teaching by 10 points the first time. So I repeated my Leaving Cert, and it was the most cruel torture ever that can be experienced. And I hope 3 of my kids have done a Leaving Cert. I hope the rest of them don't have to do one. I feel that we've kind of gone quiet as people. There's a program on TV in Ireland, Reeling in the Years, and I was recently watching it, and it was showing pictures of people demonstrating and arguing and striking and objecting to things. And I think it's just left us. We don't speak up anymore. We're just happy to accept this point system, this points race for our children. Parents should be raging. Parents should be shouting about, this is the time to change the Leaving Cert now. It's not fair. And it's the reason why this form of education isn't happening, because we're still at the mercy of this points race to get people into university where they might not even belong in the first place. So I just feel my heart is full after listening to Richard, and I'm so thankful for the opportunity. Thanks.
Great, thanks, Siobhan. Richard, do you want to respond, or?
No, thank you.
Okay, right. Okay, so Shamie, you have your hand up too.
Yes. Morning, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, sorry, I was late coming to the proceedings this morning. I had another commitment earlier, but Richard, delighted to hear you this morning. I would love to hear the full version of your presentation and hope to do so at some stage. Just a couple of quick comments. One is really interested in your project, Richard, and the rest of the participants might like to look at a similar project we have in Maynooth. I'll just put it into the chat box. It's called Turn to Teaching, and it is a fairly major project now, which is running for the last couple of years, where students from communities that have low participation in higher education have a route into primary teaching, and it's been really, really successful. But anyway, the link is there if anyone wants to take a look at it. And the second thing, just and your last speaker, I absolutely agree with everything Siobhan was saying. I don't know Siobhan, but I agree with everything we were saying there, Siobhan. But I know we talked an awful lot about values, but one of my worries now is that often people are finding it very easy to articulate or tell you what the values are, or the values you should have, or the values the system should have, but they're not living the values. So going back to Siobhan there, for example, I don't want to talk about the Minister for Education, but I heard her talking recently, and she was talking all about well-being, all about care, all about this, all about that. And so it has become kind of very fashionable now to articulate these are our values, but living the values is a completely different thing. And I think there's something that maybe for future we need to keep an eye on, because nobody disagrees with values. Like who would disagree with the values of trust, integrity, care and respect? Sure, we all think they're great. Nobody could actually disagree with them at any stage. But I find now, in my experience, I won't go into it on a public forum, but I could give lots of examples of interactions with various state agencies in the last 6 months, where people are articulating these values as these high ideals, but in reality, the values are not being lived out. That's all I have to say, Maureen.
Yeah, that's great. That's great, Shamie. I see Jo has a lovely comment there. She says, values lived, not laminated. It's really good, isn't it? That's really great. I think, Richard, you've sparked off something very special here, and thank you so much. I just want to make sure that everybody's had the opportunity to comment here. Okay, like I know that we only got the tip of the iceberg there of your whole project and you're thinking about it. But I think it's something very valuable. And I think now that we're post-pandemic, we're nearly ready, to hear this and to do something about it, because everything is a little bit up in the air. So, yeah.
If I can add to that, some of the innovations or practices that we developed, of course, are now much more common and understood and experienced. So some of the newness of the things that we were trying at that time is less, shall we say, a barrier than before. So who knows? We may get back there one day and do this all again. But it may be my children rather than me.
And apologies, I said post-pandemic, and of course we're not a bit post-pandemic, but in this country we're just taking a little breather for the moment. Okay, so that's great. Thank you so much. Now, Richard's slides are actually on our Wakelet. For anybody who wants to access them, and they're live and you can actually write in on them. Am I correct there, Richard? Yes. Okay.